Well, thank you, Kathy, for setting this up and getting us all together again. And good morning, everybody. This is the quarterly call we now do with the wastewater operators. I'm joined today by Kathy Baskin, who you've already heard a little bit from this morning, our Assistant Commissioner for Water Resources, as well as Leldon Langley, Mary Beth Chubb, John Murphy, and a number of staff from our various regional offices to make sure we're all hearing about the same things and discussing the same things as we cover the issues in the meeting. A reminder that the call is being recorded. We will post a copy of the recording on our website at the conclusion of the meeting, so it's available as a resource. I'm going to start a little bit out of order today because we have Ed Kiley from the Department of Housing and Community Development with us, and he's here to talk about rate relief, the update on rate relief for low-income household drinking water and wastewater emergency assistance program. This is the program that we started discussing a few months ago, and now it's moving into implementation. So we thought it was an important opportunity for you to hear directly from Ed. So if it's okay, Ed, thank you for being here. I'm going to turn the floor over to you.
Great. Thank you, Commissioner. Good morning, everyone. So the LIWAP program was established under the Consolidated Appropriation Acts of 21 and through the American Rescue Plan. The total allocation to Massachusetts is a little over $18 million. We had to submit, it's being overseen by Health and Human Services at the federal level. We submitted a state plan to Health and HHS back in the summer. It was finally approved mid-November. So actually everything after this is my recommendations and hasn't been approved yet by the Secretary or Undersecretary, but I expect that to happen shortly. Because every agency has, every department has their own shutoff policies, varying from termination after 90 days or all the way up to 365 days. Or just creating a tax lien. There are three tenets that we have to follow under HHS guidelines. The first is reestablishing those who've lost service, protecting those who are in danger of losing service, and finally, those, say basically usage. With that, we are focusing on protecting those who have been terminated and are in danger of loss of service. We're interpreting loss of service as anyone with an overdue bill. So, and for speed of getting the program up and running, we're utilizing the LIHEAP program, commonly known as fuel assistance. So if a person applies for fuel assistance and is eligible, they're eligible for a LIWAP benefit. So, and it will be administered by the local LIHEAP agencies. There's 20 agencies statewide. Some of you might have had interactions with them 20 years ago when we had a water and sewer program through state funding. They'll be reaching out to you probably within the next month with information how the program is going to work. And there's going to be vendor agreements between the local agencies and you. Essentially, it's just the agreement that you'll handle the money and it will go towards the appropriate clients. We are going to have a web-based vendor portal, the vendor being you. And that will be enable you to interact with the local agencies as far as confirming account information, overdue, termination information, and the like. It is going to be web-based, and the local agency, well, actually, it's going to be web-based. We're building it now. Testing starts next week on it, so that will probably be in the works probably turn live at the turn of the year. It's our intent to have the program up and running as far as notifying eligible households that they're eligible for the benefit mid-January. My recommendation to the Secretary and Undersecretary is the benefit is going to be $300 for the majority of the households. With LIHEAP, it's done by federal poverty level and state median income up to 60%. So a family of four making $75,000 would qualify for LIHEAP and LIWAP. Per HHS, we have to treat the most vulnerable households a little differently. So under my recommendation, households that are 125% federal poverty level and below will get an additional $50 in their benefit. You're not going to have to worry about that. That's going to be determined by the local LIHEAP agency, and they'll notify you who those clients are. this is short money, a small amount of money relatively to other programs that we have funded. Again, it's only $18 million. So it's not going to, I view it as we're going to be out of money this year. It's not going to be a multi-year program. There's no additional funding in the pipeline as of right now for this program, but there are other programs that are out there that can help with water and sewer arrearages on bills. One program is the Emergency Rental Assistance Program. Again, that's for renters. And as we know, most renters don't have bills that goes to the landlord. But there is, for those do have it, there is I think it's $2,500 available for overdue utilities. There is also another program coming online that is going to be administered by Mass Housing Homeowners Assistance Fund. So with that program, for what I'm told is that if a homeowner has a lien on their property because of either overdue property taxes or water bills or sewer bills, there'll be a benefit available to them to help offset that if it's impacting their mortgage. Again, I'm not running that program, but I have been talking with them, and that program is supposed to be up and running again in January as well, but that's through Mass Housing. I think that covered everything I have on my side for now. If anyone has questions or concerns.
I have a question, Mickey Nowak here. If someone wanted to get information about this, can they contact you, and could you put your email in the chat box for everyone?
Sure, I'll do that now.
Thank you.
Ed, I see another question that came in from Bill Branton. Or is there a link or resource for this? Whoops, it just went. For this assistance program that I could share with my town accounting or senior center?
Not yet. We're creating them as we speak. I'm hoping to have that finalized and approved into this week, hopefully no later than Christmas.
Great.
And I'll share with Kathy to send it out to you. Okay,
that's great. Yeah, we can use the fact that you registered today will help us contact you with that information later on. So.
Oh, and the other, as far as payment of the benefit, I know most districts have either a water and sewer department, or they're split in different departments. If the household has an overdue on either account, the benefit would be split 50-50. If it's overdue on one account, the benefit will go to the account that is overdue. So we have to deal with overdue and terminations before actual usage.
Great. I don't see other questions in the chat. I don't know if anybody else wants to unmute. Well, I can send that information out when I get it from Ed. Thank you, Ed.
All right. Thank you.
Yep. Thanks a lot, Ed. Appreciate the update and spending some time with us this morning.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Yeah. So we're also fortunate in these calls to be joined by our federal partners at EPA. I see Denny Dart is with us today. Denny, I don't know if there are any updates you'd like to provide to the group this morning.
Hi, thank you, Commissioner, and hello, everybody. I have two quick updates. As you're all aware, the President signed an infrastructure bill in November, and I have a couple of links to fact sheets on the EPA's website that explain how that, particularly the municipal infrastructure money, will be dispersed. And in addition, there are some upcoming courses that EPA is offering that people can take for continuing education credit, and one of those is tomorrow. It's part of the series on compliance at small wastewater treatment systems. So I will also put that in the chat. That's all I had to offer. Thank you.
Terrific, and thank you again for being with us today. Mm-hmm. I know we also have John Murphy with us from the Board of Licensing. John, any updates you'd like to provide to people?
Yes, thanks, Commissioner. Only major update is that we are in the final 2 weeks of a renewal period. So all wastewater license for Massachusetts need to be renewed by the end of December. Active licenses require 20 TCHs. So if anyone has any questions or anything pertaining to renewals, feel free to reach out to myself or EPA. Thank you.
Great. Great. Any questions for John? Okay, not hearing any, then we'll move on to a couple of updates and then make sure that we're allowing time for questions. First, as many of you know, and many of you have commented in this process, MassDEP is being called upon to finalize its sewer notification regulations based on the statute that was passed in early 2021. As you may recall, there was a public comment period earlier this year where we proposed the draft regulations. We received a lot of comment from you, from boards of health, from environmental activists. Even the bill sponsors weighed in on a couple of issues that developed as we were going through the comment period. So we're in the process of finalizing our rules based on the input we received. Our goal is to have the rules published late December. So we're meeting the January deadline, which requires us to have rules in place 1 year after promulgation of the statute. Then of course we have additional time after that for when the rules go into effect, implementation measures that we're working on simultaneously, because as you know, there's the piece where there's notification based by the operators of CSO and other types of facilities. There's obligations for boards of health to post notices, and then there's DEP's obligation to compile this information and have it available, and also have a place to submit the information that is user friendly. And we're working on all of those areas. So I'd say in the public comment period, we did hear a lot about what the intent of the law was. We were called upon to look closely at some of the sections. We did try to also clarify, some of the implementation issues, and hopefully you'll see some of the, in some areas, improvements in how notifications will work. And an ongoing commitment from us to make sure that we're staying in touch even as these rules go forward with thoughtful implementation. So again, in the next few weeks, you can expect to see the final rules once we're finished with writing them and publishing them. And I think I can speak on behalf of Kathy and Weldon and Susie King. We're committed to making sure that we're continuing to work with you even as we move into the next stages of implementation of this set of regulations. In addition, we also have been mindful of some of the financial developments. You may have, I'm sure everybody at this point has heard that on Monday the governor signed the ARPA legislation. As you know, the governor made a proposal to spend certain of the federal ARPA funds for various purposes. That proposal was acted upon and changed somewhat by the legislature, but there remains a component of it that goes to water and wastewater projects. About $100 million was dedicated of that funding to water and wastewater projects. The money was dedicated in different ways. There's about 15 million for the water and wastewater projects that are earmarked. The balance of it will go to the Mass Clean Water Trust for principal and interest reduction. So we will be, now that we have the legislation and we're in the process of implementation, we will be in touch, as will the trust, with all of you on how this funding will get implemented. And we will make sure to be pushing out updates even between these meetings. Now that we're meeting quarterly, we will be making sure that we're communicating with you as we're developing approaches to expend the funding. In addition, as Denny Dart from EPA noted, the president did sign the Infrastructure Investments and Jobs Act, and that provides additional federal support for SRF programs over the next several years. from what I understand, Massachusetts expects upwards of 200 million per year for 5 fiscal years moving forward to support SRF project subsidies. We are again going to make sure that we are following the federal guidance when we receive it as the money begins to move to the states, and we understand what the how the funding gets distributed and allocated, and we will stay in touch with that, as will our partners at the Clean Water Trust. So more to follow on that. Finally, I think I've covered most of what I wanted to cover. I think Kathy, you had an update about a grant program to assess coronavirus and wastewater that you wanted to provide to the group.
Yes, that's right. We have mentioned 2 studies that are they're partnerships between the Department of Public Health and DEP to study the coronavirus in wastewater. And the first is funded by the Food and Drug Administration, and we're pleased that we think that we have identified the 2 wastewater entities that will participate in that study. But we are looking for about 20 or 24 wastewater utilities to participate on another study that's funded by the Centers for Disease Control. And that one is, that will involve also having the utilities monitor their wastewater, take the samples, and then and submit them for analysis for the coronavirus. The data will be available to the utility as well as to the state and federal governments. And this is a great opportunity to participate in something similar to what we've been talking about for the almost 2 years now. We've discussed the BioBot effort, which is a private company doing the same type of work. So if you're interested, please let me know, and I will put my email in the chat. And I know there were 4 entities last time when we met in September. 4 entities did reach out to me, and you are on the list. DPH has not reached out yet to anybody. So don't feel like if you already threw your hat in the ring that you somehow got ignored or looked past. We have not done that. You're on the list, those 4 entities. But if you want to make sure you're on the list, feel free to remind me. And anybody else who's interested, please let me know. So I think it's a great opportunity. Thanks.
Okay, thank you, Kathy. And then finally, one thing, it's a reminder, and I know, I think both Jane and Denny have made this point from the drinking water and the wastewater program. We hear time to time, about supply chain issues. And I think this is just a reminder that if there are certain, supply chain issues, particularly if it's immediately related to, meeting ongoing obligations, let us know. I think it's helpful for us and our federal partners to know if there are issues. I know we've all been hearing a lot about supply chains in a number of sectors of the economy over the past few months. You were talking about this even before that, given some of the challenges we had with some of the chemicals and some of the materials. But it's an open invitation. From time to time, we have heard from various operators, and we appreciate your keeping us in the loop on that. So with that, I think maybe we can. I don't think we have any other advanced questions, so maybe we can open it up to either questions through the chat, Kathy, or if people want to unmute themselves and ask a question or make a comment.
Yes, so there are a couple. Let's see, we have Wendy Leo from MWRA has pointed out, in case you did not get the notice from Water Isaac, Water Isaac is the entity that works on cybersecurity, and we've partnered with them. So in case you didn't see the notice, they sent out advisory Water and wastewater utilities urged to migrate Log4j vulnerability immediately. Log4j is an open source Java-based logging utility widely used by enterprise applications, cloud services, Internet of Things, and SCADA systems. Water and wastewater utility system administrators are encouraged to review the Apache Log4j 2.15.0 announcement. Thank you, Wendy, for putting the website in. So folks can look up. There are a couple of websites. And also, I would say, if this all sounds really difficult to comprehend, feel free to contact me. And I certainly won't be the person who can comprehend it either. However, I will try to find somebody at DEP who can help you understand the message. So thank you very much, Wendy, for that update on vulnerabilities with respect to cybersecurity. Let's see, we also have a few more questions. Let's see, I just want to make sure I put my contact information for that CDC study in the chat. There we go. Okay, there was a question about this is about the funding. So do we have any window of actually when the monies might be available to apply for? Thank you. And I think what the Clean Water Trust is planning for the ARPA funding is to use that for subsidies on projects that are relevant to the 3 priority areas that were identified for that spending. And so I think that money will, you may not even need to apply for it. I think the Clean Water Trust is considering applying or providing that funding to projects that are eligible for funding now or have recently received funding, but that's still under consideration. It's not a definite. So that's what they're thinking about for that. The other funding is, we've heard the amount that we are expecting to receive, but we have not received it. We think that won't come into projects until next year, according to our state revolving fund program. But then there will be a lot of it. And so we're looking forward to funding your projects.
Right, and for the first bucket of money, if there were earmarks, that might follow a different path. We're going through the legislation right now. You know, the money that's going directly to the Clean Water Trust is following one path. If this was somehow earmarked funding, we're looking at the language of that, and you know, I'm hopeful in the near future we'll have something more to say about that. And I think Jen Peterson.
Oh, yes, Jen.
I think Jen wanted to add something on that.
Thank you, Commissioner. So this really wasn't discussed at our call with the water suppliers yesterday, but just I know that our perspective on that funding piece is that, you know, unfortunately, if it goes to people who are already sort of in the queue, those who aren't in the queue are at a disadvantage. And so I guess, you know, I would just ask that you have further conversations with the Clean Water Trust about, you know, opening up the solicitation for that ARPA funding to any and all utilities who might have an eligible project. It's sort of what happened with ARA back in, I think, 08, 09, where, you know, folks who had sort of shovel-ready projects got the funding, but others didn't even have a chance at it. And so certainly, I know there's other shots with the federal funding, but we, for one, would love to see that it be sort of more open than projects that are already in the pipeline. Thank you.
Well, yeah, thanks for that comment, Jen. And, you know, some of it may be the way that the legislation is written right now. And as you know, it may be that there may be more opportunity for that kind of discussion with the subsequent federal money that's coming in. But, you know, to your point, you've asked, we'll take a look and we'll stay in touch on this.
And there was a clarifying question on the ARPA money. Someone has asked, did I hear correctly that this is state funded? And actually, no, the ARPA funding came in 2 pathways. one went directly from the federal government to the municipalities. And the other pathway was that it went from the federal government to the state of Massachusetts. And the legislature, in coordination with the governor, has appropriated that. Let's see. We have something from Mickey Nowak. If anyone has any questions or comments on online training for Massachusetts operators, they can contact Jennifer Lichtensteiger of NUIPIC, and her address, her email address is there, or Mickey Nowak of Mass Water Environment Association, and his email address is in the chat as well. So thanks, Mickey. That's great. Good reminder for folks who need to get those professional development hours in. Let's see, we have, okay, a volunteer for the study. Thank you. So noted. And let's see. Okay. Mickey has asked a more specific question about the outreach on the sewage notification regulations. So after the final regulations are out, will there be a question and answer session with MassDEP so that everyone fully understands their responsibilities? And
I am going to let you guys answer that. You've been spending so much time on it. The short answer is yes. You know, I know the program has been planning for how to implement this and some sessions. So Kathy or Leldon or Susie, if you want to highlight what your plans are, that would be great.
Well, I'm happy to say that Leldon and Susie have been working really hard on this, and they are planning at least a couple of sessions for the CSO folks and another session for the those who do not have CSOs. But Leldon, maybe you want to discuss this further.
Yes, that's right. So our thinking is that for timing, in order to give people as much time as possible to prepare, notification plans, and also clearly to understand the rules and be able to implement it fully come July, that, we're currently looking at some dates in January. And I'm thinking we would likely have 2 sessions for CSO permittees. They have enough, responsibilities. We need to work through those. And then a single session for SSO notification as well, probably held also in January. Also discussing and trying to plan something for boards of health, since some of the responsibilities under the statute, fall to boards of health. Thinking about doing some outreach to those boards to help them make sure that they're able to, coordinate and carry out their responsibilities as well. Haven't quite figured out the timing for that, but again, trying to get it done early in the year. The sessions would include some opportunities for, it would be questions and answers, as well as just some instructive portions to try and make sure that not only can we tell you what we think about how best to implement the statute, but also to get your questions and help clarify any questions that you might have. Susie, I don't know if you had anything else to add.
No, I think you covered it well.
Great. And I see Mickey is reminding us of the NUIA conference. Can you just mention those dates to me again, please, Mickey? January 23rd through 26th. So thanks for that. We'll keep those dates in mind. Thank you, Kathy. Thank you, Commissioner.
I think Kevin Brander might be speaking about that at NUIA. So we'll have to check the schedule, but I think he's on it. So, and of course, we'll have our own sessions. Okay, William Branton has asked, does anyone know the status of the retirement benefit bill? Will it cover local workers? I think it's Bill S-1669. I haven't heard anything about that in a while. And we can certainly check with our legislative director. I don't know if anybody else has heard anything. No, I will check though.
I will just tell you that, yeah, I will just tell you that it hasn't been reported out of committee yet. So it's still in the committee.
All right, thank you. I don't see any other questions in the chat. Maybe folks would want to unmute.
Well, if we don't have any takers today, I think given what's on the agenda for us, whether it's the new regulations or the distribution of funds, I think you can expect to be hearing from DEP a lot, over the next few weeks and into the new year. And we'll make sure that we're using our usual avenues of communication, the broadcast emails, the things on our website, the various ways we communicate to keep you up to speed on that. And I think you had a few very generous offers from Kathy and the team, to both, if you have questions, to contact them, as well as some of the training sessions that we're going to be organizing. So I suspect we'll be in touch in different ways a lot between now and our next quarterly session. And we look forward to that. We look forward to that ongoing engagement. Again, I want to express, my appreciation to all of you for being with us today. I think these sessions continue to have utility, and it's a great opportunity for us to be in touch. So we're looking forward to continuing these in 2022 on the quarterly basis, if that timing still makes sense for everybody. And we look forward to a lot of engagement. And I think I speak for everybody at DEP saying thank you for the work you continue to do, this important public health and environmental protection work all of you do. And I hope everybody continues to be well, and that as the year turns, have a great holiday. And we're looking forward to working with you again in a collaborative manner in 2022. So thank you, everybody, very much. And I hope everybody has a great day today.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.